Hi guys, it is Lizzie K and I am here with another review. Obviously, I should try to figure out how to balance Amazon reviews with my Wattpad reviews. Wattpad people who want reviews seem to be like faster in the can I get a review realm. But I actually do have two books for this video. They're two Amazon books. I was asked to review these by a person in my company. I work under After Hours Publishing. I'm writing for them. And with that said and done, I was like, well, I will gladly review your books. But then I was like, well, I don't want to reveal the ending. So I didn't read the end of the books. I don't read the end of the books before I do reviews, because sometimes if I read the end, then I'll somehow sadly give the end. Like Xavier Neal, I was like trying so hard not to be like, this is what happens at the end. So I didn't read the end of these books, so I don't know what happens at the end, but I do know what happens at the beginning, and which actually makes it easier to keep this within 10 minutes. So, which is my goal, to do videos and reviews within 10 minutes. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with Discovering the Devil, which is by Silver Jade. I was gonna say Silvery, which is so wrong. It's Silver Jade. This is a erotic lesbian romance. Yes. Now, when the person asked me to do this, I kind of acted, I was like, oh, it was my first lesbian romance, which isn't actually true. Just to give a bit of background, if anyone is into manga, again, I always talk about manga in like every video, but I am a manga reader and I read anything that has a good plot. So I've read Yuri, and right now, currently my favorite right now is Citrus. If you know what Yuri is, then I don't need to explain it, but obviously if you don't, Yuri is basically lesbian romance, just like yaoi is gay or male romance. So if you're ever like, I want to read something different and you like comic books, go check out some yaoi or some Yuri. So this is not my first one, but I'm just gonna go straight into it and read the summary. Ashlyn Reed was her second brain, her second wind. Clever would lick her lips at the sight of Ashlyn's peanut butter skin tone and would often wonder if the 24-year-old's flesh tasted like peanuts or butter. She was sure that she would never get a chance at that task. Clever, the clever devil, Braveheart, was CEO of a company that she started in her dorm room, which grew to pull in billions in revenue. Her assistant Ashlyn was priceless. However, to be so menacing in the bedroom, the masculine, no-nonsense, control freak Clever would completely turn to mush after work hours for her assistant. When constantly trying to block out that could be passion between the two, she becomes sexually frustrated to the point when forcing her own orgasm is a must. Almost at the breaking point, she is on edge of wanting to confess her wildest fantasies and deepest secrets, just to let Ashlyn know how she feels about her. There's only one problem. It's not the frequent business trips out of state or the many times of being alone that stands in Clever's way. Ashlyn has a boyfriend. Okay, so by the summary, mentally at first, I'm automatically going to think, okay, so this is a lady who is falling for her female assistant. The only problem, and this is not about Ashlyn being gay or not, it's about Ashlyn having a boyfriend. So Ashlyn is in technically a committed relationship, and this committed relationship is what's going to keep Clever, the clever devil, which I totally saw what you did there, from actually initiating a romance. So what I can say from the very first chapter, because I'm only going to cover the 3 chapters, which I decided to do now because I feel like if I try to read every single book fully, I'm never going to get to people's reviews. Like, it was already hard enough trying to make sure I read like all these Wattpad stories, 3 chapters, and trying to hit all these Amazon books because other people have acts outside of my company. I just figured I would go with my company first. The first chapter, it's actually pretty normal starting. Like, I wouldn't say I was impressed a bit because I think this was the first book she wrote that was a lesbian romance erotica. She has another one, I believe, that's coming out. And I was impressed. I didn't know what I was going to read. Quite frankly, I was more interested in Clever, her idea of making bras for women who had gone through cancer, and they no longer had full chest, and they had, because sometimes if you have breast cancer you have to cut them off. So I loved that idea. I actually was like, oh, I'm in love with that idea. I should steal that model. No, but it started off pretty interesting because you definitely get this feeling that Clever is very dependent on Ashlyn. Even though Clever is very hardworking and very focused, Ashlyn is definitely her ROD, like the girl she goes to. I need you to do this. I need this to get done. And Ashlyn's like, yeah, I got you. And at first it's almost like they're BFFs, which again is mentioned a few chapters later, how Ashlyn kind of focuses on the relationship as more of a workplace relationship versus a friend relationship. And then Clever's like, dude, like, I thought we were friends with all the stuff I do for you. I'm definitely sure we're friends. The fun parts are that, you know, Clever, every time she's looking at Ashlyn, she's like, I would do you right now. I would totally do you right now. I want to do you right now. But she, like, can't. And it's funny because, like, even as a reader, I'm getting frustrated. Like, when are they gonna bang? Like, when is this gonna happen? Like, I don't have patience. Like, when is this gonna happen? And there's a clear tension between the two. And I appreciate that, kind of having that heat right off the bat, but not overdoing it where it's like, oh, she's in love with her. Like, I love the fact that she didn't just like fall in love with her, fall in her bed like right away. And I also like the fact that both of them have like actual situations going on in their family, like Clever and the father that is not there, the father who's basically lied to both her and his side wife, I guess. And then you have Ashlyn, who's dealing with her boyfriend, who is definitely a deadbeat, which I kind of felt like I needed a little bit more on that. I don't know, I believe this was a short story, so I don't think the words would have gone over and made it a regular book. But I really would have appreciated if she had gone a bit more into the boyfriend in the beginning, because when you do meet him, he's kind of like a loser completely. Like, he's completely dependent upon Ashlyn, and you're kind of like, dude, what's your story? But basically, at some point, he makes it very difficult for Ashlyn to be at home, and she has to call the cops and come and have Clever come by and help her out, which of course kind of makes the relationship a little bit more closer, because Clever's now like the one that saved her and took care of her. So for me, I really did appreciate the story. I really liked it. I mean, of course, like any story, there was good parts and bad parts. Like, for me personally, I have a thing about stories about billionaires. You guys already know me. So when it was constant, their wealth was mentioned a couple of times, too many to me. But that was like, that's my personality. That's just me. Like, if I read a billionaire, I kind of figure that the person's gonna have a lot of money. But like, it was kind of constantly mentioned the amount of money that they were spending. So I was kind of like, okay. I thought it was freaking funny when they got that like really sexy Hispanic girl that they kept calling like a daddy's girl or something, who applied for the job and was obviously not capable of it. I was kind of upset. I was not upset. No, I was more kind of taken up. I was kind of like, I would have loved to have her and Ashlyn go back and forth. It was pretty dominant that Ashlyn and Devil were like kind of going at her. So I would have loved if she had some moments where where she popped off in some lines, because I think that creates a funny dynamic. I think that would have been a hysterical dynamic if you have this girl who's quote unquote trying to get this job and this girl who's leaving the job who's really upset. Because the thing is, Ashlyn applied for a job without telling Clever that she got a new job. And so Clever was kind of like, we just leave, we just gonna drop people. Like, so I thought that was funny. Outside of that, I was really waiting for them to bang. I'm not gonna lie, I was like, oh god, they need to bang already. Is this an erotica or is this an erotica? So pretty much I'm in like 8 minutes. I'm like trying to beat the clock. But pretty much I actually would say this is a pretty good novel. It's definitely an erotic novel. I'm not gonna tell you what happens at the end, because that's telling you the end of the book, and that's not my job here. But honestly, I feel like Clever came off very strong female character. Actually, I always appreciate when a writer sits down and says this female is going to have a voice and this female is not going to be some wimpy chick. And both Ashlyn and Clever did have distinct voices and distinct personalities. Clever is masculine, just a heads up. I was checking the reviews and someone mentioned that it wasn't a feminine lesbian, and I was just kind of like, okay, like why would that earn anyway. It's a masculine woman and a feminine female. I enjoyed the story. I recommend other people read it. Obviously, how I feel and think is only how I feel and think. So if you want to argue with me, please read the book, then comment and tell me what you think. But as we all know, I'm pretty dope that they asked me to review an erotic lesbian romance. I'm pretty hyped about it. I'm really excited about it. I'm trying to control myself. I'm not gonna ramble or rant. So check the book out. Tell me what you think. Comment below. Check it out on Amazon. The link is below. Subscribe, like, you know what